Hi, it's Hunt Conrad with the Golden State Salmon Association and another segment in our tutorials. Today we're going to work with bait holders. Now, there's been kind of an evolution of bait holders over the years, and for different reasons they've adapted, and of course fishermen just about buy whatever they see. But anyway, one of the first bait holders was known as the rotary salmon killer. This was, the kind of the first one. This probably came out maybe 25 years ago, and it's a great little tool. It's got some limitations, and I just thought I'd show you some of the sort of pluses and minuses of it. Got some brined bait. I brine all my bait with ProCure, basically bite and brine. I think it's a great product. There is a little tool that I can't find that I used to have that opens these up. And the other little secret about these things is if you heat them up in boiling water, you can get that to expand. See how it's not quite all the way down? It makes it a lot easier to load. So essentially, this is how we load it. Now, right now, these are really big baits, and I would love to find smaller baits, but right now this is what I've got. So in order to get these hooks to perform properly, you need to put a toothpick in the aperture there so that it holds these hooks where they are. And then the last thing I do is I take a rubber band and put that around the tail so that the hooks basically hang like that. It's a very effective bait. The problem that I don't like with the rotary salmon killers is that they tend to spin too quickly. The other thing too is if you don't expand the clamping part, basically that tail just whips and it just looks very unnatural. So this was the original. This is the rotary salmon killer. RSK as it's commonly known. Perfectly good, works well. I like the green. Then we came up with what's known as the Franco Bullet Rotator. This is the FBR. Bob Franco down in Half Moon Bay created this, and it's got a really nice roll. They've made some modifications to it, and that's a nice feature. One of the modifications is they've got this pin basically instead of a pin that actually drove through the head. So this makes it quite a bit easier to load. And that's basically it. Once again, you'll want to put a rubber band on that end and to hold these hooks straight. Now, you'll notice in the last tutorial that I did, I showed you how to tie that 2-hook rig. Okay? With this one, because the baits are larger, you need to use this little spacer in order to keep this thing working correctly. So I use that spacer. It will slide up underneath there on the smaller baits, and it'll just work a lot better. There it goes. All right, so that's the Franco Bullet Rotator. Good tool. Again, it spins fairly quickly. This is the Crippled Anchovy. All right, this has got a little bit slower roll. It's got a little bit more of a flick to it. Again, it's a very easy bait to load. This particular bait is super large, so we're going to have to work with that. And then the biggest problem is trying to get that little pin in there sometime. And then once again, you're going to want a toothpick in this line entry point so that it pegs that line exactly where you want it. And again, because of the 2 hooks, I like the rubber band. I like this bait a lot, especially down in the Golden Gate with the smaller anchovies that we use. It's just got a little bit better rotation, and it just is it's a nice presentation. And then finally, the one that I use on my boat the most is called the Trinidad. This is a relatively new product made by Trinidad Tackle. Spins relatively slowly, but the key to it is this: it's got this wire on it. So when you put this on, you drive the wire right down the backbone, pin it, and then what I like to do is I like to bend that wire and the bait at the same time. So now, again, the rubber band because of the two hooks. Okay, but now you can see I've got a really nice shape, and I got that really nice slow roll. I think that this is my favorite bait right now. I use it oftentimes with a pyramid, a small pyramid flasher in front of it, and for me, I think it works great. All right, those are the bait holders, and then what I told you I was going to share is how to do the cut plug anchovy on the for the hoochie. I use bag bait for this. You can see it's all torn up. It's not very nice. And remember, we had some features when we tied this thing, right? We had the two hooks. We had the center pulled out of the hoochie, and then we also clipped the head of it. All right, I'll show you why all that's important. So the first thing I do is I go from the tail, or from the head of the adipose fin back to the anus, and I cut it on a bias so that it's got some angle, and then I take off half of the tail. Then I take the front hook and I put it right through the spine of the anchovy. Then I take the whole program and slide it up inside the bait. The reason why you cut the end out is so that the tail can slide up there. But that is basically my cut plug hoochie rig, and it's a very, very effective rig, especially with the proper flasher, which we'll do in the next segment. All right, well, that's it for bait holders. Thank you so much for supporting Golden State Salmon Association. We'll see you out in the water. Tight lines.